All right, so we want to do 55 and 56 and 10-1, which give us this formula and then ask us to determine the radius given the volume for a sphere. Okay, so what do the R and the V here probably stand for? Good. You guys have really gotten the hang of picking variables, right? Probably they stand for radius and volume because somebody did a good job picking. Okay, so now if I'm supposed to use this formula, they've given me V's, right? So what do I do with a V? Yeah, okay, so I should think about that thing, right? This formula as being a function, right? So really if I was writing in the notation that we usually use, I would say this thing is not R, but is R of V, right? R is a rule. It takes volumes and turns them into radii, right? You guys see that? Okay, so here's a volume. Let me turn it into a radius. To do that, I just take this, I plug it in there. So I get, all right, R of 216 is the cube root of 3 times 216 divided by 4 pi. Right? All of you got this far, I'm sure. Yeah? Okay, then what was the problem? The rest of it. What's the rest of it consist of? Yeah, so there isn't really a doing here. There's just a getting a number out of this thing, right? Where do I go for that? That's a good thought. Calculator, this like little computer in your hand or something. Okay, so yeah. So really what I should be asking myself is, okay, there's an order of operations that needs to happen here, right? So if I was going to simplify this fraction by hand, or this expression by hand, what would I do? Okay, I'd take 3, I'd multiply it by 216. That's because why? Yeah, that's because that's the whole top of a fraction, right? And that comes with kind of implied grouping symbols. These guys. What would you do next? Okay. So how do you put that into your calculator?
I don't know. When I was doing that, when I did the pointer thing to make it a cube root, it tries to cube my last answer. It won't actually cube the friggin' root thing.
Yeah, it won't cube this thing.
It's very
frustrating. So we need a calculator syntax, right? So here's what I usually think. I think, okay, there's grouping symbols here, right? The 3 times the 216 is grouped. Then there's a grouping symbol on the bottom. That's 4 times pi, right? Then there's a grouping symbol around all of this stuff that says I need to cube root it, right? Okay, so if you can find the cube root button on your calculator, there's a button for this, under the math button on your calculator. So if you push this math list, scroll a little ways down, there's an actual cube root button.
Oh, nice to know. 4 days ago.
Yeah, so the other option is that you can, so one, we can find the cube root button, and it comes with a parenthesis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what does it need? What am I trying to cube root?
648 parentheses divided by parentheses 4 times pi parentheses.
648, which I assume is 3 times 216, divided by what?
What parentheses before the division? After the 648 parentheses, then divide. No, you have to force close that 648.
Okay, where do you want your parentheses?
This way.
This way?
No, okay, the 8, I want you to give it a half smile. As you're smiling.
Okay, you want parentheses this way?
Yes. And then divide.
Okay.
By parentheses 4 times pi, close the parentheses. There we go.
All right. This right here is our problem. Aw, you're really close. But what are you telling the calculator to do? It says cube root
Oh, and then a parenthesis for the whole thing.
Yeah, right now I'm cube rooting 648, and then I'm dividing that by 4 pi. You guys see that? Your calculator is good at order of operations. I want it to do the division first, and then cube root the whole thing.
Figure out the bottom first.
You see that? Yeah, we could figure out the bottom first and then punch it in. I would advise away from that because it gives you kind of, you keep rounding at each step, right? If you've got one of these calculators that's kind of a little dumber, right? Like the not graphing calculator, right? Those you maybe have to do this in a couple more steps. But with a graphing calculator, I would advise stick it all in so that you get the answer you want out of it without rounding at each step. If you round at each stage, you're going to be a little bit further off than if you just plug it all in. You guys see this? On some of them, like the fancy TI-84s, it'll tell you whether you're in the right syntax or not.
Yeah.
Which is actually why I advise that you use Wolfram Alpha or something.
What does the cube button look like?
It looks exactly like this. So if you push math, push the math button, it'll give you a list of options. And then scroll down. Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy junk in there.
And then on 788, there's how to put in the different index.
And then
Yep, so if you want a different thing, another option would be you take 648, you divide by 4 times pi, and then you raise everything to the 1 divided by 3. This is also an option for getting a cube root. So either or on these will give you a calculator answer. What do you get?
3.7.
You know, if I cube it
I didn't-
first, it always messes up.
I got like 6.
I don't know why.
Uh-oh. All right, so what are we actually entering? Are we getting 3.7?
I did wrong.
Some of us aren't.
I got 3.7 and 7.9 when I typed in with different parentheses.
Yeah, so it's going to give you different answers based on different parentheses, right? So on this one, I need root 3, parenthesis, and then 648 divided by parentheses of 4 times pi. What'd you get?
So,
How do I know which one's right? Can I ballpark this?
Oh, now I got 3.7.
I don't know what's bigger than what's smaller, but
Okay.
get a decent approximation.
Yeah. I could go, what's it bigger or smaller than, right? So let me think. It's a volume of 216, right? You guys see that? I just want to know what this is approximately. What if I thought the sphere was a cube? How big a cube holds a volume of 216? How do I figure that out? Cube root it. Okay, so if I cube root 216, what do I get? Can we do that? I hope we can do that at least with the calculator, right?
Yeah, 6.
6. Okay, so this should definitely be bigger or smaller than 6. Right, so I'm thinking, okay, if there's a cube, that would be 6 on a side, right? To hold the same amount? And now I'm wondering about the radius, right, of a sphere. So if I kind of think, okay, if I kind of lump this, right, if I kind of round the edges, it won't be quite 6 across, but it'll be maybe close. Right, and then the radius is half of the cross distance. So I'm figuring this might be somewhere around 3-ish, right? So if I'm getting like 0.03, I'm wrong. If I'm getting 8, I'm wrong. Should be someplace ballpark 3, right? Is cool with that? So, does anyone Got a calculator typed in version that I can look at to see what we got?
Mine said December 16th.
Here, let me see the fancy one.
Just got a couple of things.
Okay. Can I get this thing on?
Yeah, look at that.
Are we not on? On.
Every time.
Get something different every time. That's not good. Oh, and this thing, of course, isn't going to like the TI-84 because it has a backlight. Let's see if we can see it at all. Okay, so here's our TI-84, and we can't see it really. Oh, maybe we can. You guys read that? Maybe turn the brightness down a bit. Okay. I don't know why we're shaking, but apparently we are. Okay, so let's see. I've got several options for entry here, right? You guys see that? So here we've got one where we've got a cube root of 648 in parentheses divided by...
You have to touch it.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, it's not a touch screen.
Okay.
Okay, so it's got a cube root of 648 in parentheses divided by 4 pi in parentheses. Think that's going to give me the right one? Why isn't this one giving me the right one? You guys see that? Because there's no parenthesis where? Yeah, the 4 and the pi there, those aren't getting multiplied together. We're taking 648, we're dividing by 4, and then multiplying that by pi. You guys see that? The calculator is really good at order of operations. It just does, okay, you told me to divide, so I'm going to divide. Okay, now you told me to multiply, I'm going to multiply. Cool?
That bottom one, I don't know if it's pi there, it's supposed to be a thing.
Oh, it's supposed to be a caret?
Yeah, but I didn't press the second. I pressed
Yeah,
the
so then this one got really dorky, right?
second. Yeah.
Because this one took 648 divided by 4 times pi. Then what did it do? Then it multiplied by pi. The pi's canceled, right?
Yeah.
Then it multiplied by a third. So in the end, what did I do? The wrong thing. We took 648, right? Divided by 4 times pi. We multiplied by pi. Then we multiplied by a third. The pi's cancel. What's 54 then? 648 divided by...
Wait.
No. There's a 4
Oh, 12.
times a third. 648 divided by 12. You guys see that? I'm trying to get us used to reading calculators right now. So if you're wondering what we're doing. So let's see. Other options? Oh, here's another one. This one's a little different than that one. They give the same answer though. Why? Are these different or not?
Because it isolates the.
There's an extra.
Yeah, there's an extra set of parentheses around
The
The
top.
top.
the top, right? Does that matter? No, 648 is one number, right? The calculator treats that as one object regardless of whether I put parentheses around it or not. If I was putting in 3 times 216 there, then I would need the parentheses around the top. You guys see that? So this calculator is a bit fancy, right? You guys see that the third bar goes the whole way? Does anybody have a TI-83 that I can use?
Yeah.
All right. Uh-oh. Oh, we don't have anything typed
Push
in.
me down again.
No, because I cleared everything, because I got December 16th. And I didn't even know it gives you months.
Shouldn't. Okay, so let's see. At least I'm not aware of a way to get it to do that.
Because I did something special.
All right, so here's my calculator, right? And I'd like to say, okay, I want to enter in this thing. Okay, so I go to the math button. You guys see the math button? Okay, and then, okay, so there's this arrow frac, there's arrow decimal. What do those do? You guys know?
Fractions and decimals.
Just moves up and down.
That seems reasonable, right? So the two, that little arrow, it means
Also, I
2.
got decimal, not December.
Yeah, so this converts to a decimal, this converts to a fraction. You guys see that? So if I got a decimal answer, I want to convert it to a fraction, I'll use the push fraction button and it'll convert to a fraction for me. All right, so then there's a little 3. What's that guy do?
Cube.
Yeah, that's the cubing button. So then there's a cube root button.
Now, if you want that,
So I want to use the cube root button for this guy. So I push enter and it puts a little cube root button there. Okay, so now what do I want to cube root? Okay, I want to cube root 648
Divided by
over 4
divided by 4.
times pi.
Oh, dang it. I need a
Oh,
parenthesis, right?
Yeah.
If I do 4 times pi, it'll divide 648 by 4 and then multiply by pi. I want it to put the pi in the bottom, so I need to tell it, okay, put your pi in the bottom thing. Okay, see that? Okay, now, what else?
Now another parenthesis?
Yeah, now I could close the cube root. I think that's good practice to be in. It will give you the right answer if you don't close it.
Okay,
You guys see this?
that's all we do.
Okay, so I am saying that the answer is approximately, what's my answer? Approximately 3.7. Do I need other stuff? What did they say? Tenth? Tenth? Oh, what are my units in? Centimeters, because this was centimeters cubed, right? You guys notice I'm using an approximately equals here?
And that's with pi.
Yeah, because there's really actually a cube root of pi in this thing. If I was to be totally accurate, I would need that in there.
Okay, now, if we're rounding up or rounding down, would we use that also, since it's rounding?
Yeah, anytime you round, you need one of these approximately equal to.
Okay.
Anytime you use a calculator to evaluate an irrational number, it gives you a decimal approximation. You need this approximately equal to.
Okay.
Because you don't mean that this thing, right, and this thing are actually the same. They're just almost the same. Okay, see that? Okay, you want to try the other one? Probably should, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other one I should be plugging V is 2744 in, right? Okay, see that? So I'll do the easy part, right? We should be taking R of 2744, which should be the cube root of 3 times 2744 divided by 4 times pi, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't here. Is there like a little formula?
Yeah, it's part of the problem. They told me to use this. Okay, so I got this. Can you guys punch this into a calculator and see what you get? What?
8.7.
So we have some votes for 8.7. Other numbers that came out of calculators?
0.867.
Okay. We're just gonna vote on the list.
Are you just doing the 3 times?
Should be doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anybody else? 8.6, not 8.7?
0.7.
Okay. So we've got some more votes for 8.7. Anything else? Just the 2, huh? All right. Show of hands for 8.7. Show of hands for the 0.86. Show of hands for didn't have a calculator today? Okay. So do practice this stuff, right? This is a good thing to practice because I'm not really dwelling on it in class, right? I'm not spending a lot of time teaching you to use your calculator. I'm kind of hoping that you're going to use Wolfram Alpha in your life instead so that you can see the same output. You guys know what I mean?
No, what's Wolfram Alpha?
So Wolfram Alpha is a website. I highly recommend that you use it as a calculator if you need to do stuff like this in life. Because if you need to evaluate something like this, you get a number out of your calculator, right? I don't know which of these numbers is correct because the calculator doesn't kick back formatted output at me, right? It doesn't tell me, is this what you meant to enter, right? Wolfram Alpha always gives you an input back. It tells you, this is what you just told me to evaluate. Here's the number, right?
What is it called?
Wolfram Alpha.
Wolfram?
Wolfram Alpha. Google's another good choice. Google also doesn't kick inputs back quite as well. Wolfram kicks inputs back exactly in mathematical notation.
Somebody told me this weekend I should be checking out Khan something.
Khan Academy.
Is that, do you recommend that also?
Sure. They have really nice videos. They have pencast videos for lots of the math we're learning. Yeah, you can actually get away with YouTubing just type in the YouTube search bar the section title and decent stuff will come up. All right, yeah.
I
That's
have
it.
a question. Is the 2,744 or is it 2,000?
So this symbol in the US means thousands and hundreds.
That's a powerful.
Why?
How can I understand that? I mean, why can it be the...
Why can't it be 2 points?
Yeah.
Because in the US we use this symbol to mean point. Do you guys see why she got her answer?
No.
She doesn't.
She's interpreting through a European lens, and so she's reading the comma as a decimal point.
Oh.
Do you guys know they did that?
No.
No. You probably should, because if you travel abroad, it'll change the prices a lot. Right? You'll go abroad, you'll be like, holy shit, gas is expensive. It's 3,200 euros a liter. Like, oh wait, no, it's 320 a liter, which is still super expensive. But.
So what did they write?
So do you guys see what the difference is? Why is she getting 0.86 and we're getting 8.7? Yeah, because she's off by a factor of 1,000, and then she's cube rooting it, so she's off by a factor of 10 in the end. You guys see that?
Which one's right? The 8.7.
Yeah, so the 8.7's right. Let's check it. So how do we enter it in the calculator? Like that. Oh.
Like this.
So if you want to get the entry back, do you guys know how to get the previous entry back out of your calculator?
Is there a return?
So if you look here, this button at the bottom says entry solve above it in yellow and green. How do you get the yellow thing?
Go to the second one.
Okay, so if I push second, enter, it'll give me the previous entry and put me in a spot to edit it, right?
That's like one of those things where you press a calculator a bunch of times and you don't know what you're doing and you stumble on that.
Uh-huh.
And you can't redo it.
Okay, so, oh, I erased it. I pushed the delete button in there, right? Because I wanted to get rid of the 648. Now, how do I make it so I can put new stuff in there?
Clear? No?
No, you just start writing numbers.
Okay, so if I start writing the numbers down, what am I supposed to be writing down? I need a parenthesis, right? And then a 3 times, oh. You guys see what it's doing?
Yeah, you have
I'm
to-
overwriting.
Yeah, I had one of those calculators in math last year.
Okay, so let's not go insane. Let's figure it out. So let's go, okay, I screwed this one up, right? So I'm going to hit clear. And then I want the entry back again. So how did I do that?
Second and.
Second, enter. Uh-oh.
December
Second,
See?
enter.
Decimal.
Okay, so now I'm back in here, right? Okay, now I want to go back and I want the 648 out of there. And then I want to put stuff in, right? You guys know how to do that? Okay, so this is the same as on a word processor.
Oh my.
Do you guys ever get into overwrite mode like this on a word processor?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know how to fix it other than closing the program? Push the key labeled insert on your keyboard. So I want to insert text. So you see above the delete key there's a INS. If you push second INS, it'll change the cursor. See how the cursor changed from a block blinking to an underline blinking? Now it'll let me put stuff in. So I can put parenthesis 3 times 2744 parenthesis. Is this going to work?
Yeah. No, in a parentheses.
Oh yeah, I must have pulled an entry that I screwed up. You guys see that? So I need to put an insert parentheses on the bottom. Okay, now I lost track of how many parentheses I had. What's that one closing?
Everything.
Okay, cool. Cool? Neat. All right, so what did we learn about the calculator? Okay, so there's a cube root button. Where's the cube root button? Okay, it's in the math list. I scroll down to it. Okay, what else did I learn?
How to get to that, that's inside the map.
Yeah. So I learned that I can get the entry back by second enter. What else did I learn?
To insert.
Yeah, I can insert with second delete, right? That'll give me insert. What else did I learn? Yeah, I hope I learned how to use the delete key. I hope I also learned that the grouping on a fraction matters, right? Is cool with that? Yeah, so if we wanted to turn this into a fraction, we could do, okay, now I want my answer back, right? So if I go second answer, and then I want to a fraction, right? So I push the math button, and then I want convert to fraction. Oh. That one doesn't have a convenient one. How do I know this one didn't have a convenient one to start with? Because I was cube rooting a fraction, right? You guys see that? This thing's got a pi in it. Cube root of pi is kind of messy. This probably isn't going to have an easy fraction. Cool? All right. Cool.